afternoon, guys. Welcome to Missouri City Branch, our after school break program. Today we are going to be doing DIY dream catchers. Here is my example of a finished DIY dream catcher. And then we're going to quickly go over the supplies that you need and then show you how to make it. So the first thing we need, I used was a wooden, it's like an embroidery hoop. So actually this can make two. You would just unhook it. You could do two dream catchers. Of course, you need scissors. You can use duct tape or masking tape. You can use washi tape. Here are some different types of yarn, twine, pretty different colored ribbon. So any of those work. Also the beads, feathers, pom-poms. You can use anything like buttons as well. So anything just to make it attractive and pretty or creative that you want to use. We also need a hot glue gun. So that helps to keep the yarn on as well as put like the pom-poms and feathers. All right, guys, so we're going to start with our embroidery hoop and our yarn, or either if you're using ribbon or masking tape. And we're gonna do our starting point, which usually we start off with the hot glue. And I put just a little right on here. And then stick the ribbon on here. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm gonna loop it around. And as you go through it, I do it at an angle so that it'll cover more of the embroidery hoop. So this is a long piece of ribbon, so it takes me a minute. But you're just gonna keep looping it. Sometimes it gets tangled and you have to untangle it. So just take your time. You're gonna loop it through. As you can see, it's going sideways. It's looping it around. And I really like this ribbon. It's colorful, so it really makes a pretty pattern. Now don't forget, as you're doing it, to make your lines, your spider web lines, you want to cross over and start on the other side. Let's untangle this for a minute. Now, I'm going to loop it down and start another section. And depending on how many sections you want it to cross, how many times you want it to cross, you can start another line going across. Here we go. We're going to start over here. Do the opposite side, go the opposite way, and make our loop. I do try to loop it midpoint, so that they're not all close together, and it gives it kind of a design. So right here, I'm going to loop it across again. And then you can decide which side you want it to start on. And you're going to want to continue to loop it around until you've covered the whole ribbon. All right, so now that we have our embroidery hoop completely covered, you want to go and you want to get some extra string. It can be different colors or the same string, doesn't really matter. And you want to cut you some tails for it. And that's just so that it can hang So it can hang down and you can do beads or feathers or whatever else you would like on your dream catcher. So I'm going to cut the string. Somewhere to cut. And you can decide how many tails you want. Doesn't just have to be 4. It could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 2. It's your design. So once your tails are cut, now you're going to take your hot glue and you're going to decide where you want on your embroidery hoop to glue your tails and which side. So you want to know what side is facing you. So it just depends on how you like it. I'm going to glue my strings on here. So I glue on the inside. You just need a little. So now we have our strings. Okay. I decided I'm only going to put 3 on here. And so now this is when you can start decorating it. So I am going to add a couple of beads. And you can do any kind of beads, wooden beads, plastic beads, your choice. You can do buttons, which would be a good decoration as well. But I'm going to do little colorful beads. And depending on what you've used, whether it's yarn or string or ribbon, we'll make it, we'll determine how easy your beads go on. For this one, it was really easy to stick the string into the hole and get the beads on. With the ribbon, it's a little more challenging, but it's still pretty easy. You just have to twist the end to stick it in there. All right, so now here we have our dream catcher. We have our beads on here. And then I've already picked out some feathers that we're going to put on here as well as some pom-poms. So what I like to do with the feathers is I put a little of the hot glue on the end of it, like that. And then I just wrap the string around it, so that it'll stay. And then let it dry. So again, we're going to hot glue the little stick of the feather. And then I take the string, wrap it around. And let it dry. So now we have our feathers attached to it. I'm going to slide the beads down a little to sort of cover that up where I've hot glued the. Now I'm just going to hot glue my pom-poms. So I put a little hot glue on the pom-pom and just stick it where I want it to go. And here you go. You see the feathers, the beads, and our pom-poms. And now you have your very own DIY dream catcher that you've made yourself, really creative and pretty. So here are both my examples of different dream catchers with using different materials. And I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I will see you next time. Thank you for coming to our after school break.